everybody. Let me get myself comfortable. What do we got here? We got 48 people that were brave enough to come visit me on a Sunday. Oh my goodness. Wow. So a lot of people wanted to know, why wasn't I going live? Why wasn't I going live? Because there were live impeachment hearings. And to be honest with you, I was rather taken aback by the fact that people wanted to see me instead of the live impeachment hearings. Where were you? Have you forgotten us? I never forget you. You're always close to my heart. And I'm very appreciative that people love the channel that much. I was glued to it. I had it going on in my offices. I had it going on. It was a bit strange. You got to keep the noise down when you're watching CNN because patients are getting treatments. And so we have a lot to go through. I did a remote viewing last night. I'm going to go through it. It was pretty interesting. Let me first give gratitude. Mila's out there, so she's probably going to be joining us. Yeah, she'll be joining us. Yeah, she wants in. Let me go ahead and let Mila join the party, and then after that, we'll give gratitude and say hello to everybody. Then we're going to do the remote viewings first, what last night's meditation showed. And then after that, you've got me for about an hour doing blitzes. Does that work out for everybody? Okay. And I got some questions from people, so we're just going to go through the questions. Boom, 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 boom. Right? But let me just get our compadre, our familiar, because she's banging at the door. You coming? Come on, let's go. There you go. Welcome back. All right, Mila. Mila is in the house and should be joining us. All right, so let's give gratitude to people. Hello to Jeanette Moran. She was the first. Judah Lindbergh, hello. Peter Walker, hello. Deb M. I always say PST on the time zone. That's Pacific Standard Time. You can see a tail. Carol Bronson, hello. SMV, ciao. Deborah Cottrill, hello, good to see you, Deborah. Carol Ginsberg, she's scratching her post. I put those tapes on my my chair that I love. She hates them, but they work. House of Lennerman is here. Hi, Becca, how are you? Good to have you here. Mystery Pfizer, hello. Eliza Bassett, hello. Mystery Achiever, hello. Teresa is here. Good to see everybody. Valerie Woodford is in the house. Zamay Robinson is in the house. Eliza Bassett, Nancy is here. Well, welcome. Celia Torres, Laura M, Nancy Grobel, Ronnie, shalom. All right, so we'll keep going. So I posted the donations for the month. I'm sorry it took me a while to get that going because of the impeachment, and then I forgot to put it up the last time I shot a video. There she is. But basically, what happened was we donated a lot of money. I didn't know that the racist donation had gone through, so I accidentally donated twice. But that's okay because it's a good organization. And then same with Charity Water. So we ended up donating twice. So that's okay. So I wasn't able to donate to AmericanForest.org for that reason, but we were collectively able to raise about $500 for the Australia bushfires. So thank you, everybody. And a special shout out to Lena Rodriguez because she was able to do the research to find the charities that we gave to this month. So we give her gratitude. All right, so I want to talk about last night's remote viewing because it kind of shook me up. It's not, when you start a remote viewing, you feel very gentle in it. Your mind goes places, the monkey mind. You observe the monkey mind, because if someone shouts at me in a remote state, that's the best way to put it. If someone's energy is really strong and I'm in that floaty remote state, for people who are training in this technique, you know what I mean. When you get into that state where you're just bathing in the love of Gaia and you just love everybody and you're just looking for somebody to love and you're just sending out energy and you're searching for energy or any kind of intense energy, you never know where you're going to wind up. It's people will say, well, check on this or check on that. Usually I just follow the energy and I let the energy tell me where I'm going to wind up. But it was disturbing. The first place I wound up was the Biden campaign. And people had asked me if I could look at Biden. The first thing I found is that the Biden campaign had been contacted. This is what's going on. The Biden campaign had been contacted because of credible threats that had been made against Biden and his campaign workers, his volunteers. So what appears to have happened is that they're starting to get threats. And so I think they contacted the FBI and the FBI contacted them. And so the same thing I know happened to Hillary Clinton, where she had to go to rallies with, a bulletproof vest. I mean, it's very scary that anybody that opposes Donald Trump finds themselves in this situation. But the FBI appears to be investigating credible threats against him and his volunteers, and they are now ramping up security around Biden headquarters. So that's the scary, awful first place I wound up last night in the remote. Like, wow, won't this be fun? The difference, though, this time around is that Biden was in the Senate for a very, very long time, and he made a lot of friends in DC. So this is not going to bode well for Donald Trump's campaign. But this is what we should be expecting to see more of, is this information coming out about threats, sabotage, etc. So the Republican playbook appears to be to knock out any front runners which they feel would threaten Trump's reelection. So what they're doing is they're picking off and creating fighting, divide, and conquer with the strong candidates. So starting with Biden, they're going to start. Hi, Mark. Good to see you. Hi, Angela. They're going to start picking away at Biden, and we'll be seeing a lot of attacks against Biden. And anybody who's gone against this president, that will be the defense going forward. Even so much so that President Trump wants to call witnesses and have it be like a McCarthy trial. Anybody who has said anything negative against this president, it's completely wacky. But expect to see some of that next week. And unfortunately, this is one of the reasons why it escalates into security having to be beefed up for Biden. I'm also concerned about volunteers with Biden's campaign in red states, purple states. Just make sure you're keeping yourself safe, being alert, reporting any strange activity, etc. They need to know, because evidently this is what's coming up. The second thing that they seem to be promoting, the Republicans with divide and conquer, is they're trying to create a fight between Biden and Biden and Warren. They might have a little bit of a tiff occasionally, but they've been friends for what, over 20 years? Let's go, I'm going to drink some coffee. And I think what they want to do is they want to knock out the next competitor, which is Bernie Sanders. So they're going to knock off Biden. Then they're trying to get women not to vote for Sanders because Sanders is second in line. So they'll start hitting Sanders and trying to create divide and conquer with Sanders. And what they want to do is they want to get somebody nominated that they know can't win against Trump. So they could be theoretically leaving Warren alone for her to build up steam. We know that Warren got endorsed both by, as did Klobuchar, by the New York Times, but she also got endorsed in Iowa by, I can't remember the name, if anyone knows the name of the Iowa newspaper. So we're seeing that energy that I was talking about with Elizabeth Warren, where she has a very strong energy. She has a very strong energy around her campaign, and it bodes well for the Republicans to knock off Biden and Sanders and leave Warren alone because they think that she can't beat Trump. And then once they've got the female, we all know how they like females, right? We saw the last campaign. Then once they get Warren in, this is their logic, they will then begin to beat her up the way that they beat up Hillary Clinton. So that's the game the GOP is playing, divide and conquer. And so we'll start seeing them trying to, they'll also start going after conservative Democrats that are popular with Fox News. For example, Buttigieg trying to divide and conquer by tearing apart any efforts he makes to create alliances or relationships with people of color. Klobuchar is very interesting. She has a very strong energy over her. I don't think it would be wise to have a Warren Klobuchar. I don't think that would be a good pick because you would be losing two senators. And they're very aware that they want to take the Senate. But Klobuchar has she could be picked as a VP if Warren doesn't get picked. So that's the strategy. You know, you go back, you look at the energy, you try and pull back and watch what the Republicans are doing. And it, again, is what they've always done, which is divide and conquer, fake arguments. I mean, Warren and Sanders were arm in arm at the MLK March. They're buddies, they're friends. I mean, you have arguments with your friends. You have, all the time. I have friends. I don't even know how they put up with me. We've had so many tiffs over the years, but that's just that's just how it is. So they're fine. But it's interesting to see how Republican strategists are using bots and hashtags to tear apart. And so they could be strategizing to put Warren in because they think that she's a female, and they think that they might not be able to beat Biden. They might not even be able to beat Sanders, but they think they can beat Warren. So it'll be interesting it's almost like they're aiding and abetting. And then once Warren gets it, they'll tear her to shreds. That seems to be their tactic. The second remote viewing we did was on Mitch McConnell and trying to use the empathy technique to sit in the shoes of Mitch McConnell. And I found myself between a rock and a hard place. And I heard myself say that if we call witnesses, we're opening a can of worms. So give the Democrats an inch, they'll take a mile. This is the mind of Mitch McConnell. It's interesting to go into Mitch McConnell's energy because he wants to control the witnesses. He wants, if witnesses are called, he wants to be able to control which witnesses, how much, to have some control over it. It reminds me of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Does anybody know about the fall of the Berlin Wall? Where some administrator or some clerk was very, very nervous. He had to give a press conference. He got confused and he accidentally said, "The wall is now open," because he was just very nervous and he didn't realize what he was saying. And people thought he was correct. So everybody ran to the wall and the guards couldn't control everybody trying to exit. And they called their heads up. What do we do? What do we do? We've got all these people at the Berlin Wall. What do we do? What do we do? This is East Berlin. And the supervisors said to them, well, just let out the rowdy ones. So they opened the gate and they let out the rowdy ones. And when they let out the rowdy ones, everybody pushed through and everybody piled out of East Berlin. And that was the fall of the Berlin Wall. It was a miscommunication. They let out a few rowdy ones. And the next thing you know, you had the fall of the Berlin Wall. That's the energy that I felt when I went into the energy of the Senate, that Mitch McConnell is trying to keep the wall closed, just like the Berlin Wall, and saying, and people are protesting and protesting. There's a standing protest in DC, but it's not getting covered a lot. But he's trying to keep that door closed, and then he's trying to control witnesses, who can come out, and they're so afraid of more information coming out. They want to close this. They want to close the trial as quickly as possible before more stuff gets leaked. But it goes back to the remote viewing we did with British intelligence. And that is that in a very short amount of time, you're all going to know everything that we know. Just cryptic, right? It's a cryptic thing to hear when you're in a remote state. Like, what the heck does that mean? But I think that what it means is that we're going to start seeing the SDNY showing its hand, but specifically, we're also going to see the state New York starting to show its hand because of all the documents that Mueller sent over in that direction. And a lot of that had to do with financial corruption. If you go back to movies like Serpico with Al Pacino when he was really young and cute, he's still cute. It was about New York corruption, corrupt cops, etc. And it's been a long history of corruption in major cities, that you get cops, they get corrupt, you get a corrupt AG, and that unfortunately is what happened in New York. A lot of people were blackmailing cops, bribing cops, and the attorney general had been blackmailed. So Letitia James is in the thick of it, looking at all this corruption, and some of that information, this is part of that large investigation. And that's why SDNY sent things over to the state. The other reason why SDNY sent things over to the state, first off, because they're communicating about state crimes and federal crimes. But the other reason that they're communicating back and forth is because SDNY is concerned that certain documents will go missing. Documents tend to go missing. So it was interesting also to see that communication going back and forth. The next part of the remote is we looked at Barr and Pompeo. Pompeo could be gone within 2.5 months. That's what I heard. Barr is an interesting person. He's using an interesting psychological technique, and that is because humans are social creatures. If you act like something is no big deal, then people will begin to think it's no big deal. And that's the psychological technique that Barr has been using. Act bored, act like it's no big deal, act like this happens all the time. Yeah, you know, the Mueller report, there's nothing to it. Yeah, let's move on. Yeah, boring. What are you having for lunch? And it's a way of passive aggressive. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to put my shoes on. You know, that kind of passive aggressive energy we've seen in the past from Bar. However, within 2.5 months, if you follow the energy approximately, I think Pompeo could be gone, and I think Bar could be gone as well. Also, Bar's energy, every time I go into Bar's energy, Nancy Pelosi is right on top of him. She's right on top of him. So I think he's getting it from all sides. I think he's under congressional investigation, and I think he's under investigation. I think he could face investigations from the Bar, and so could some of Trump's team because of this energy. And we'll see shakeups in the State Department. That's what I have here. All right. So the last thing people asked me to talk about was the coronavirus. Am I pronouncing it properly? It appears that it started from snakes. Snakes and birds have similar genetics. Birds evolved from reptiles. You can go through these viruses can go through different mutations as they move from host to host. And they use the genetic information from the host to replicate themselves. So if the virus is evolving as it moves from, say it moves from snakes to birds and from birds to humans, or birds to swine, overcrowded cages, etc. We can see this with farmers. Yeah, I think it's very serious. I think it's something that people should be aware of. And so this is where I put on my naturopathic doctor's hat, and I decided to talk a couple minutes about it just to help people who are concerned about their health and safety. And the first thing I want to talk to people about is make sure you have your hygiene, washing hands. Don't let people cough on you. If you're going out, go ahead and get a mask. It's not going to necessarily be all that effective, though, because viruses are extremely small. But it might give minimal protection. Keep yourself rested and low stress so that you don't compromise your immune system. Eat clean protein, skinless chicken breast or fish if you're eating animal protein. If you're a vegetarian like I am, we just load up on our nuts, our seeds, beans, etc. Keep your vitamin D up. Vitamin D, 5,000 to 10,000 international units, depending upon what your vitamin D levels are. If your vitamin D levels are high, then obviously you don't need to do that. But usually keeping your vitamin D high is recommended. Multi-minerals have been researched. A multi-mineral tablet, particularly zinc, is effective for building white blood cells. We talked about stress reduction. The last thing is I am making immune supportive teas. If you want to make your own teas, I'll show you how to do it. So I've got my teas here, and I'm going to go through this real fast, and then we'll go straight into the Blitz. But I was asked to do this, and I want to keep people safe. So I'm going to tell you what my tea recipe is, and then you can make it yourself if you want to make large batches, or you can send me an email with your address, phone number, WhimsyAnderson@gmail.com if you need to order a tea. I think it's $20 for a large bag with shipping, $29 with shipping and handling, and I think that there's a tax there. Okay, so I'm adding elderflower, which has been researched out of Israel. It has immune supportive properties. It seems to block viruses. And I'm also doing the elderberry fruit. I'm using a lot of mushrooms. Chaga has been researched, so has agaricus mushroom. So if you're consuming more mushrooms, try having sauteed mushrooms. Don't eat them raw daily, also to build your immune system. Keep your greens and your vegetables up. But I'm using a lot of chaga in my teas. And I'm also using some gandoderma, which is also called reishi, in my teas. I'm using a combination of Echinacea augustifolium and Echinacea purpura. And I'm doing this in equal parts. Oregon grape, which is a great immunomodulator and has immunosupportive properties, similar to golden seal, but you can still harvest it wild, whereas golden seal, we only get it farmed now. And I'm also using oregano leaf. The standard oregano leaf, if you're taking oregano oil, you want to make sure that the carbachol levels are high. I like natural factors because the carbachol is at 70% of the standardized extract. I don't spend a lot of money on vitamin D. You can just find any good, you can go to any store and any health food store or even a pharmacy and grab some vitamin D. This is 1,000 international units. I'm taking about 4 of these a day. And then I'm taking a good quality multivitamin. I like Thorne Research just because it's clean. It's one of the most used by naturopathic doctors. It's triple tested pharmaceutical grade. I also like pure encapsulations. And I take 3 capsules once or twice a day with food. All right, so got it out of the way. Hygiene, 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 and reduce your stress, everybody. Wash your hands, cough in your sleeve, all that good stuff. All right. Hillary bashing, yes. They love to beat up women when men are feeling frustrated, yes. Favorite punching bag, powerful women. They'll move on to Elizabeth Warren just as soon as they knock out Bernie and Biden. That's how you divide and conquer. That's how you continue to control people. Knock out your biggest competitors, and then we're only left with some weak, vulnerable person who you think is weak and vulnerable. You then tear them to shreds, using the audience's bigotry against them. So if people don't like women, if there's a lot of misogynism in a society, then you would love to have a female that you're campaigning against, you know, whatever. Unfortunately, that's how divide and conquer and hegemony works. We need to quit bashing. Yes, we need to quit bashing and just support all the Democratic candidates. We have to show up. We have to vote. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a simple prayer, and we're going to go into the blitzes, and we're going to go as fast as we can. I think there's almost 600 of us, so it should be fun. All right, let's do a simple prayer. I want to call on white light protection for myself and my viewers as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journey so that we can make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, and the people we love, and even help those we have strife with. And together, let us say amen. All right, we're going to start with a general reading about the Senate trial next week. Never assume when you read something on a liberal, you know, that's from a liberal group, don't assume that it was written by a liberal. It very likely could be a GOP person just trying to get us to eat each other. You know, let Jill speak. That started with the Republicans. Let Jill speak. And the next thing you know, because human beings are social creatures, we were all saying, let Jill speak. Divide and conquer. How many times have they shut down or tried to shut down the Democratic convention? They love it. They love to watch us eat ourselves at the Democratic convention. Half a dozen times. You know, when are we going to learn? We need to stop being played. What is going to be next week? What is going to be with the trial in the Senate next week? The truth is coming out. An attempt to shut off the, there's an attempt made, look, the truth is going to come out, and then they're going to attempt to cover it up after the truth comes out, because the first base card is the sun, and the sun is to expose or to shine the light on something. The Two of Pentacles, which is rocking back and forth, hiding information, rocky waters. I don't think they can stop this. I keep thinking about the fall of the Berlin Wall. There are too many rowdy ones. There are too many, there's too much corruption. There's too much being investigated. This is a tidal wave that Mitch McConnell, Mitch McConnell is left trying to control who the witnesses are. And even there's just too much stuff hitting at once. It's like trying to stop up holes. Oh, now we got to talk. Why was somebody recording the president planning on firing the ambassador at a fundraiser? And where was security? Like, it's just, there's too much. They can't control. It's just constantly hitting, constantly hitting. And I keep seeing the British. I keep seeing the British, whether it's Prince Charles snubbing, that wasn't very nice, snubbing the vice president, or Fiona Hill. It's bloody British. Just dumping a ton of stuff. There's just a ton of stuff coming in. Ace of Wands is moving in. Let's take a look here, see what we find. Ace of Wands moving in. Mitch McConnell is the King of Cups, I think. And I think the reason why is because he's a Pisces, believe it or not. I think that Mitch McConnell sees the writing on the wall. He cannot stop this. He cannot stop this. He can try, but the leaks are getting so overwhelming that if they attempt, he's trying as quickly as he can to close this trial before any more stuff hits the fan. But I don't know if he's going to succeed. More information coming out, more documents too, because if you get a message, Earth message, it usually means actual physical documents. I don't think that they're going to, it's already over. Trump angry, he wants revenge. It just feels like it blows up in their face. It just feels like there's just too much stuff. And so this is probably why Mitch McConnell starts to appear as the peacemaker. Well, maybe we'll let a few people testify. Well, maybe we can control who the witnesses are. Maybe we can do 2 for 1, or this desperate need to negotiate. Remember when we got into the remotes? Remember when we went into the remotes and we talked about this Ace of Cups information coming in and the King of Cups and who the heck is the King of Cups? And last year when we went into the remote and we followed the energy, and Mitch McConnell was going to have to split. He was the unlikely hero that would have to eventually he was going to have to kill old Yeller, right? He is the unlikely frightened knight who has to. He's the enemy that has to join the other side. He really has no other choice. The guy's at 35% popularity. And Susan Collins is doing almost as badly. And the remote viewing on Burr Burr says we're caught with our pants down. So privately, when you go into the remotes and you sit with the vulnerable aspects of these people, and they confide in you their deepest private feelings, as opposed to a bunch of cameras shoved in your face, and you've been told by Grassley, we've got to stick together. We've got to stick together, right? That's what I hear over and over and over again from Grassley. We're, we got to, if we fall, no, that's what they're going to take. They're going to take the Senate. We got to stick together. The cracks are starting. They're not sticking together. They're saving their own campaigns. By March, April, it's every man for himself. It's dog eat dog. No matter what they do in the Senate. They can't stop this. More financial records being released, most likely from associates of Trump and Rudy Giuliani. They keep looking at the money. They took the money also. There's this feeling here that people took bribes or took money or took contracts in exchange for putting their heads in the sand. Strife. Damn. Chained to the devil. Here's the problem with these cards. People took the money, people watched the money, people were seduced by the money, and it left them chained to the devil. The strife, the fear of strife, that this won't end. Let's do a clarification. Heartbreak. Heartbreak over the peace offender. Mitch McConnell, heartbreak. The money keeps getting exposed. The hidden money. It's in the grave. Bound to the devil. This is becoming increasingly, they're not victorious. They're chained. And they're going to go down with the ship, or they're going to save themselves. There's only two options that the Senate has right now. They either die together, as Grassley would say, we're going to go together, or they're all going to bail ship and save themselves. They better save themselves, because they are really in a lot of trouble. There's more coming out of New York, by the way, next week. Look to New York for more exposure. And the British intelligence has been also supplying information to the United States, to their intelligence agencies, which some of that will probably go public as well. So, they're going to publicly look like they're defending him because that devil card is there, but it's going to become increasingly obvious that they are publicly humiliating themselves. If they vote not to have witnesses, it's over for them. If they vote to have witnesses, it's over for the president, but they may still be able to save some seats in the Senate. That's the situation they find themselves in. And the truth of the matter is, this president was offered the opportunity to resign last year. There was a real chance before Barr came in that he and Giuliani were going to negotiate an exit. This is not good for them. All right, we're going to do some really fast blitzes now for about half an hour. I think that'll work for us. People had asked, I look at Pompeo. I don't think he's long for this world, but we're going to do Pompeo first. Yeah, I'm getting the immunity tea orders. Just tell me how many bags you want, and yeah, and your email address and your actual physical address so I can ship it out. What's going on with Pompeo? And I do 2 tablespoons boiling water. Steep it for 10 minutes. If you are making the teas yourself, I gave you the recipe, just equal parts, grind it all up, and then eat healthy. All right, what's going on with Pompeo here? He's having a breakdown. He's crying for his mother. Is his mom still alive? He wants his mommy. I don't mean to be cruel, but these tough guys, in the end, when they're up against the wall, they're crying for mommy. I guess his mom, is she still alive? We should Google that. Oh, this poor man. Human beings can be seduced. That's just the bottom line. He's a wreck. He's a wreck. Conflict. It's going back to the ethos. Everybody is questioning their social contract. There is an energy taking hold in this country where we are all self-examining ourselves, not just the Senate. What do we believe in? Are we being true to our values? The Hierophant, his higher self, it's also the Constitution, and there's conflict there, possibly conflict with others. He's very upset when I go into this remote. I'll tell you, I'm getting a remote on Pompeo, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what's happening. Pompeo is talking to people that are close to him in the investigation, and people in the State Department. Why he's having a meltdown is because he's trying to make sure there's 4 or 5 people that don't betray him, or he's terrified that he's going to be swallowed in the pit. It's like he's being pulled into a pit, and he's screaming as he's being pulled into the pit for his mommy. It's terrifying imagery. And there are these people, they're talking about, if I get called, if you get called, you better not think on me. If you get called, you better not snitch. You better not be a snitch. It's this feeling of him terrified getting his lawyer because people are going to snitch on him. Fighting with people like, you better not tell. It's all coming out. And that's bloody British intercepted communication. See, the British are intercepting communication, and they can intercept communication between Americans and foreign persons, not just the NSA, not just the CIA, but foreign intelligence. And oopsie daisy, we were monitoring Russians. This is the remote of British intelligence. We were monitoring known actors, and we intercepted a phone call, you should know, between this individual and Pompeo. We intercepted this conversation between this individual and Donald Trump, between this individual. And then there are people in high security who are former vice presidents like Biden, who are getting some intelligence briefings, like the fact that his security is being threatened. I can't believe we're living through this. I have compassion for Pompeo. I know a lot of people here don't have compassion for Pompeo, and I get it. But when you're a heart-centered remote viewer, you're in the pit with them. You're the one being swallowed by the quicksand with the guy. So yeah, of course, my job is to be able to feel that and say, oh my God, help me, as everybody's running and saying, no, I got to save myself. Soul searching. Look, this guy's crying to mom, to God, to anybody. Terrified. He's terrified of what he knows, and he's terrified of the information that people are trying to get from him. He's got to start. This guy, look at this prayerful energy around him. 4 of Swords to be a samadhi.
Hermit seeks the light. The Hierophant is the base. Not cooperating mum. This guy, there's a star over him. He must have been raised in the choir or in some religious community or something like that, because there's an ethos here that he is drawing from. This is the same thing I saw with Pence, this internal feeling like, I know I did something wrong and I need to fess up. He is going to go to somebody he trusts in the intelligence community and begin talking. Look at this. An Ace of Cups, a loving hand is offered to him. Look, somebody has already come to Pompeo and said, we can help you, but you're going to have to come forward. And then you can see the Hanged Man moving in. His only hope is that he needs to come forward. This guy is in so much trouble. Oh my God. Where he's at right now, the Four of Wands. I don't think he can stay at the State Department. He's going to break with this president. He's going to break with this president. He's going to cooperate. Look at the Lover's card moving in. He takes the deal. Look at this with the Ace of Cups in the back and comes out strong. He's going to save himself. He's like the church boy who was taught right from wrong and share your candy, Mikey, and be a good boy and sit with your hands folded in the back, or you're gonna have to sit with the nuns in the back of the church with your hands folded if you don't stop acting up. It's one of those types of energies, and they always catch you. They always catch you if you stole the communal wine, went down to the basement, stole the communal wine, and drank it with your friends. Fess up. Somebody did it, and you know it was you. It's that kind of energy. Naughty boys. Don McGann. Okay, is that what we're doing, Don McGann? Not bar? I thought you guys wanted bar next. I have a list. Let's do bar and then we'll do Don McGann, okay? Okay, I gotta just check out bar. I'm going as fast as I can. If we have to go late, we can. It's all right because, yeah, I'm not working on Sunday. Okay, let's do bar. Dang, can you believe these cards? This is awesome. I love it when the truth comes out, even though I feel bad for people that are scared and okay, Don McGann. Okay, they're showing me documents when I go into the remote. So it looks like Don McGann had actual physical documents or stuff that's going to, it's actual stuff. It's physical documents. It goes back to the Page of Pentacles. Putting it behind you, the King of Swords walking away. So with Don McGann, it feels like he has a bunch of stuff, a bunch of documents. He recorded everything. He dated everything. He documented everything. And what he wants to do is just hand everything over, but not testify. That's how it feels to me when I go into this energy. Where he's at right now, the Wheel of Fortune, what goes around comes around. He's in a strong position. The Hierophant, the truth comes out. It's like people's consciousnesses are starting to get to them. They're feeling self-conscious. They're starting to feel guilty or something. There's this Hierophant, the Constitution, the ethos, the shared ethos. It's already happened. He's already had his crash. The hidden documents, the hidden documents. He already handed stuff over. He already had his crash, defending himself. Looks like Congress and it looks like they already have his stuff. He had some stuff. It was his insurance policy. He had stuff. He kept it. He documented it, and now it's getting handed over. You can see the Hierophant, the ethos in his fourth house, doing the right thing, exposure of something, ground, right? Pentacles or ground is often when it's an actual physical thing. The Queen who exposes something that's hidden. He defends himself. He wants to put this behind him. The Queen of Swords is the archetype that puts the past behind her and walks away, sitting in a state of prayer or contemplation. But he feels like his main contribution to this, the truth coming out, the High Priestess here. He's going to try and wheedle out of it, but his main contribution is that he's handing over actual documents to him again. I don't think he wants to testify, but I think he is willing to hand over actual stuff against this president. All right, let's do Bar next. It's going to be with Bar. Bar's in even more trouble, I would think. Jeez. Man, they're like going up in smoke. What's going on with William Barr? Now I'm hearing that song again. I'm hearing Robert Mueller. Sooner or later you're gonna be mine. I mean, just do. He's like slow jazz. Robert Mueller is like do. I'm gonna take these documents over to SDNY and to the state. It's all good because sooner or later you're gonna be mine. It's inevitable. Love that jazz. It's that kind of just no worries. Stay calm. There's a science to this, people. Tried and true. All right, Bar. What's going on with Bar? I'm having a lot of fun. Ooh, there's a lot of us here. Welcome, everybody. Walking away from the broken man, the exile card. Carrying the load. Do you remember what I said when we first went into the remotes? That this is like the fall of the Berlin Wall. Too many sticks, too much information, can't carry the load. It's too much. Walking away from the broken man. The Five of Pentacles is the card of exile where the poor are trapped in the snow trying to get into the church. I keep seeing church imagery, repentance, prayers, atonement, calling on God's mercy. He has to give this up. This is out of his hands. That's what he's telling me. He's taken this as far as he could take it. he's come to a point, William Barr has come to a point where the president's on his own. He can't help this president anymore. Yeah. The Hermit Card. We keep hearing people say, oh, the Senate is going to let him off. The Senate is going to let him off. That's not the energy. Oh, he'll be impeached again. That's not the energy. The energy for me as a remote viewer is this thing is sinking. This boat is sinking. This is happening. Right now, people are just trying to save themselves. The truth is coming out. By the way, I think he's not. This guy likes to have a little bit of schnapps in the evening, a little bit of a drink. He might be turning to. He looks like the old friars of days gone by, you know. Likes his drink, likes his beer, just like Kavanaugh. Prayer. Exile from the church. He's handing information to Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff is going to get information from William Barr. He's confused. Hopes and fears, his job, his reputation, his mastery, and the final outcome, Ace of Pentacles. It's like a dump. There's a dump coming. Oh my God, he's dumping. He's going back to God. The Hierophant returns. The ethos, the Constitution. A lot of people were blackmailed or threatened or bribed. The extent to which that happened is going to start coming out. It's out of my hands. That's my feeling as I sit in William Barr's shoes. It's out of my hands at this point. All right. Lent is coming. Lent is coming from Pompeo and Barr and Kavanaugh. Getting back to the church, getting back to the traditions. You know, it's that Lent is just around the corner. Those 40 days of repentance. That's huge if you're a person of faith. That's the energy. We know right from wrong, and we did wrong. Okay. So people ask me to look at the candidates now. Starting with Bernie Sanders. Bernie. All right. How you doing, Bernie? Bernie, my man. He says we're fine. Elizabeth and I are fine. We're fine. That's the first thing I hear. We're friends. We're fine. And he wishes that the media would stop promoting this fighting back and forth because it's very direct. He says, we're fine. And he wants to get back to the campaign. Okay. So he doesn't like the division because he says that the division is moving away from the point, and the point is the issues, and that he and Elizabeth Warren share the same values regarding the issues, and they're on the same team, and people are trying to divide them, and it's divide and conquer. And he's talking about the fact that he and Elizabeth are not even the issue. They're fine. The issue is decent wages, loan forgiveness for students. He keeps talking, let's get back to the issues and not be manipulated to create rifts. There was a little tiff. We worked it out. It was a misunderstanding. We're fine. Let's get back on the campaign. We're focused. He doesn't have time for that. This country is in serious trouble as far as he's concerned, and it's just another distraction from the real issues, like minimum wage. He did not like having that tiff with Elizabeth Warren. There's a feeling of grief or sadness about it. Anytime he's misunderstood, or anytime these things happen, it's kind of a feeling of grief or a blow to his campaign, a blow to be misunderstood, particularly since he feels like he's been a champion for women for a long time. He's got a nice Ace of Wands moving in, though, so it's a feeling like he's coming back into his power. I think that Elizabeth Warren is going to address it also, because there's a real need to move on and not be manipulated by this divide and conquer that we've been seeing. He's getting a lot of donations. You can see here, look at that. Nice. He's got a nice cushion here. He's making some decisions about, look, no drama, Sanders. He doesn't want to talk about it. You're missing the point of the bigger issue, which is, the working man, how the economy should work for everyone. Judgment clear in the 4th house. Yeah, and coming out of the restricted situation and moving towards a nice 10 of Cups. His campaign is very strong. You can see also pushing through with the base was an Ace of Wands. Devil card. I think that this is the bots. This is Elizabeth Warren, by the way. Transformation in the campaign. Star over the Devil card. I'm worried that his campaign could end. I'm worried that something could happen because we have a Death card and a Knight of Wands. I could see him, if he does have to step down, endorsing Elizabeth Warren, or any candidate for that matter. Something could happen that pulls him out of the race. We'll just have to see. But he really wants people to move on from all this BS and fighting, and none of it's real, and none of it matters, and none of it has anything to do with policies about loan forgiveness, infrastructure, public health. So that is Bernie Sanders. I'm going to go ahead and do Elizabeth Warren next. But before I do, let me just see what everyone's saying here. Yeah, and if I don't think that Bernie knowingly was allowing women to be paid less. I think it's all just BS. Make America think again. Yes. Hi, Kate. Is everybody having fun? Am I getting to everybody's questions? I know you guys don't want to hear it, but I feel really sorry for Pompeo. Like, just sitting in those shoes and running to get help from people are not going to put themselves on the line and lie or cover up for Mike Pompeo. He's on his own. Andrew Yang. Yeah, don't use Russian talking points. I have sympathy for Pompeo because I've also been conned and seduced by malignant narcissist. You know, but he said he loved me, so that's why I wrote the check. You know, the coronavirus. Yeah, we talked about the coronavirus, and I'm making teas for people that want them. And I also gave the recipe if you want to make your own. And also some general suggestions if you go to the beginning of this tape. People want me to look at Schiff. Okay. Mike Bloomberg. I only have sympathy because he did lose his mother? Is that what happened? Because he was crying for his mother in the remote. God, I feel so sorry for him. Do I have a recipe book? No, I just use equal parts of the herbs, and then I do 2 heaping tablespoons of the blend in boiling water and let it steep for 10 minutes. I'm using a combination of the mushrooms. I just go back and check the recipe I'm using. I just feel terrible for them. Oh, Giuliani. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's look at Giuliani. Another one that needs to get back to the church. Mike Mulvaney. Boy, you guys. I don't know if I'll be able to get to everybody. Okay, are we ready to go again? Fox. Yeah, because Fox is because Fox has got a new generation. Okay, we're gonna look at Elizabeth Warren next. I'm going as fast as I can. What's with Elizabeth Warren? How you doing, Lizzie? What's with Elizabeth Warren? They think they can beat her. That's why they want her to be the nominee. Where she's at, Page of Swords is the page of communication by air. It's also to cut off or terminate things that don't suit you. She's just throwing herself into the campaign. You can see a nice Fool card there. Very, very academic person. Definitely the Harvard professor. Nice Hermit card moving in. Smoother waters, coming out of a difficult situation. What is above her? She's very, very interested in this idea of taking care of the working person. It's really this feeling of FDR, the New Deal, the Green New Deal. She really wants to start building and giving support to companies that are eco-friendly in areas that desperately need employment. Yeah, the money and the poverty issues, the finances, the past, the juggling of funds, the lying, the gaslighting, the confusing consumers, corruption that exploits the consumer. There is some arguing, and she has trouble controlling the drama on her team. There's a 5 of Wands there. She really needs to watch the fact that there's infighting on her campaign, and to be a stronger voice and not to be so. It's good that she listens to everybody, but she needs to nip this in a bud. in the bud. She's going to start focusing also on more world stuff, and there's a nice contract coming in with the 3 of Pentacles in the 8th house. Final outcome is strife. Queen of Wands, boundaries. The Empress card. There's poverty cards here. She's having trouble with her funding. She could, it doesn't show her dropping out, but in the coming weeks, she's definitely having a drop in fundraising, and it's having an impact on the campaign. Okay, let's look at Andrew Yang. Interesting. She got a poverty card, so she's definitely struggling to get donations. How is Andrew Yang doing? Andrew Yang. How's Andrew Yang doing? Victorious money issues, communication about some of his policies will probably be successful. I see him getting involved in local politics, possibly being political in his community. I don't know what state he's from, but this looks like he becomes politically active in an area, and like mayor or Senate, or something of that nature. There's a local feel to this. Some of his ideas definitely will be adopted. Healer, there's a crash over the situation, having to make a decision because of the finances. There's some legal issue, a court issue that's coming in. I think he's dealing with something that's happening that's a potential court issue, and also trouble getting his funds. He also pulled a poverty card here. I don't know if he'll be president, but I don't think he's going to be the president, but it's very likely he'll go into local politics with these types of cards, and working, with the local sector. And working locally with the business sector. All right. It's hard for me to, okay. All right, let's do Giuliani. What's going on with Giuliani? Oh, she died in 1996. Thank you. Yeah, he was crying for her. Oh my God, that's so sad. He's from New York State. He's going to be involved in, I could see him going for Congress because it's a local area he's been active in. What's going on with Rudy Giuliani? Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani. Oh, he's being questioned by the FBI. His associates, Yeah, they intercepted walking away from a battle he can't win and supplying information. There's his insurance policy. No one's loyal to anybody. This is not a group of people that's loyal to anyone. He is refusing to answer questions. He was in the vision I have in the remote. He's questioned by the FBI. It looks like, you know, it's the same situation. You're visited at your offices by 2 FBI agents, and I hear him saying that, "Oh, I know how you guys are. I used to work with you guys." And you know, this. He's under investigation with SDNY. He's under investigation with the state, and he's also talking to FBI agents. He has some information on him. It's like the guy dumps the information and he walks away and dumps information, going into a smoother water. Heartbreak over him. He is saying that he and his colleagues, people like Lev Parnas, everybody's been torn apart and broken apart, and they're all doing secret deals. And the kingpin in the middle of this is Rudy Giuliani. And so 3 swords, you know, 3 of swords. It's like Lev Parnas does his thing. The other guy, I can't remember his name. He does his thing. His associates are all being questioned. So people that worked in Giuliani's firm, people who worked for him, they all turned. And so because they all turned, this puts Giuliani in a situation where he's going to have to cooperate. That's why I'm saying the energy does not show President Trump being reelected. The energy shows this all being falling apart. Because one by one, just like Robert Mueller said, this is a science. You go and you keep chipping away until you get to the kingpin. He's in a corner, 9 of Wands, defending himself in the 4th house, trying to protect himself from a situation that he feels that he has placed himself in. He is battle weary. What he sits in, what he marinates in, his established relationships and partnerships, his business partnerships. He says, I have tapes. He has tapes. He said he's got tapes on the AG as well. Sooner or later, you're gonna be mine. The Constitution, the ethos, the higher ethos, right? Everybody's going back to church. Or what some people like to say, their come to Jesus moment. A new beginning in the spring. Yeah, I think everything's going to come out by the spring. It keeps talking about, this is my April card, by the way. The hope and the fear that he will be given a good offer. The man is, there he is, dumping it, double aces. He's working with the state, and I think he's working with Letitia James as well. This is state charges as well. She is really working, getting stuff from the feds because of ongoing state investigations. Dang, she's strong. She should be the AG, but she's doing so much cleanup in New York that I think we need to keep her in New York for a while. Oh, I love Robert Mueller. Oh, somebody said, is Robert Mueller sick? No, I don't think. I mean, he's getting older, but, you know, he's got his turkey sandwiches that his wife makes him. You know, he's on a low-fat diet, keeps himself trim. All right, so the next one is Mick Mulvaney. They're all turning, they're all confessing, they're all crying for their mothers. I mean, I get that we all want revenge. I get that we're human beings. I get that we're infuriated. But when you see somebody like Pompeo crying for their mother and scared and praying to God privately under their blankets, can you really be pissed off? I mean, it's just hard to continue to be angry at them. I know I screwed up. I knew better. It's like, okay. Cooperate, do your time in prison. All right, we're going to look at Mick Mulvaney. Mick Mulvaney. They're all confessing. It's like they all got caught and they all turned on each other. That's how it feels. They didn't get away with it. They've already started to cooperate. Damn. God, I just feel so sorry for them. They're so scared. It's like the little children going before the judge crying. I do feel sorry for him. Well, he's definitely got a lawyer, Mick Mulvaney. He wants out. Look at that. He's leaving. Babe, I'm leaving. He's got a nice chariot and 6 of swords. I'm out the door. I think everybody's quitting. He's in the tower. Did anybody have good cards? I mean, they're good in the sense that these are cards of repentance, right? They're cards of repentance and going to God and going back to the church and I have sinned, right? It's those kinds of images we're seeing today. The judge over him. Strife, deals, returning to old alliances. He's being questioned about foreign contacts. Look at that. Here's where he is. He's not even the main focus because when they handed over stuff, they realized he was completely confused. You can see the 7 of Cups here. So he doesn't even, he's not the main person they're focusing on, believe it or not. Congress is coming for him. Yeah, I think he's quitting because of these cards here. You can see the Chariot and the 6 of Swords. And this is the female judge, the perfect judge, Yehudit. It's also Nancy Pelosi. This is the emperor. It can be the courts, the judge. I see him leaving. I see him cooperating, and I don't see him as the main focus of the investigation. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up. I think we got to most everybody's questions. Did everybody have fun? I want to thank everybody for the donations, for watching the commercials, and also for the super chats. We donated $800 this month to charity. Give yourselves a round of applause. Over $800, I believe. We gave quite a bit to help with the bushfires in Australia. And let me know where you want the money to go next month. I think we should continue to donate to Australia just because the situation is still pretty horrible over there. But, all right. Thank you. Thanks, Larry Girl. All right. Love and light to you all. I don't care what other people are saying. I mean, I do, but all I can tell you is what I see when I go into the remotes, and it's exploding. Even if they shut this down, it's not going to help at this point. Even if they shut this down, I still think Lindsey Graham is going to try and get this president out by spring so that they can get somebody else in. It's a train wreck. It's a train wreck. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're still trying to get in for a phone reading, you can go to tarotwithwhimsy.com. If you're in the Los Angeles area and you'd like to come to my offices, just when you book your appointment, leave a message saying in office, so I know that it's going to be in person. Thanks for watching, everyone. God bless, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.